woman?
Okay, what are you trying to show me?
Something like it'll be really quick. It'll be really quick.
No, if we're gonna do anything, it's not. Exactly, we're done. We're out of time after that.
So if you
Woman? No, I was putting them files.
Have you had?
everyone's touching my
Today? The one where you build the car track out before the car.
Oh yeah. You can build a track.
No. It's another racing game called Big Way.
Alright guys, I'm golden because I'm better. Actually, I'm better. No,
Be
I'm
ever
better.
humble to me.
I am better.
Yeah, we have DVD though. 1987.
1987. What?
What the heck? I was dropping the lemon. That was the block. That was the block.
There we go.
I'm gonna have the most hacky thing ever. I'm getting shooter in this game. I need a controller.
And then the box slapped just with your earbud. I did not hit.
I'm pressing A. I pressed A. Oh, you have to press the Xbox thing. What A? And it's not working. I pressed A. It's not letting me press A.
Sorry guys, the controllers have to be on before we hit that button.
Oh.
She was Allie's bet, right?
Let's freaking go! Yeah, so your other
Oh yeah.
most aerodynamic one of all of them.
I
mean, what about the pencil? Is this a cigarette box? The banana is the best one. What is this? Is there like not like a crown?
You have to unlock all the headgear.
Wait, can you teach me how to play?
Yeah.
I'm 14. I'm mommy.
Wait, what? Why is my controller working?
What?
Oh my god, it's so good. Get freaking gooder. The banana is the most aerodynamic. What about the freaking pencil? No, the banana is just better. But it's literally a pencil. It's good. There's a top hat. Yes.
That's not a good thing.
Oh, Taylor, my name is Stop. I call pick you the first one. What's your name?
Zoe.
Super hot.
You're up.
Good morning, Samuel. Come grab a chair. It's much more comfortable than the corner of a wall.
I don't know, bro. Go back. Why are you trying to play like this?
He wants to play the hardest level possible so that we don't have any fun at all.
Yeah, it's so fun. What are you talking about? That makes sense. It's so good. Slow down. What the heck? Bro, why did you pick this? Because it's so fun. No, it's not. You seem to be gooder. I don't know. No. Daniel, do earbuds count in the phone bucket?
No.
No?
Yeah, I'm gonna move because I
Can you like put multiple phones in the phone bucket? Why does earbuds not count?
Because it's the thing they plug into that's the problem.
No, Daniel. Earbuds, they're wireless. Daniel.
So what do they connect to wirelessly?
Bluetooth.
Like, what's the device on the other end of the Bluetooth connection?
My phone.
That's the thing that goes in the bucket.
Micah, what do you want? Micah, stop hitting it.
Wait, Daniel, can you put multiple phones in the bucket? Yeah.
Oh, come on!
Daniel, I made that a while back.
No!
Oh my god.
Wait, when do you stick your arms like A?
Yesterday when I was
Yeah, I definitely have my hands up.
walking out of Walmart.
Micah!
Okay, so maybe pick a better level.
This was Micah!
Literally no one has fun on this level but you.
I do. Yeah, no, it's not fun. It's not fun.
What? Blackberry.
Stop ramming into me.
No, not Blackberry.
This game is not fun when you pick the hardest level. Yeah, it is. No, it's not. It's literally only fun
I'm
to
getting
you.
the level already.
I'm just gooder though. I'm just literally gooder. Bro is like more Oh, I'm just like.
No, do you remember I did like a barrel roll?
This is why the banana is gooder.
Remember when I did the barrel roll, Daniel?
Oh yeah.
Why is the banana though?
Oh, come on!
No, it's just better.
But I feel like it's.
What? What? You were going slower. You were going slower.
I'm too good.
How do you make that
You were going slower. I don't understand.
I'm too good, guys. I told you I'm
Bro, how do you make that jump?
I told you I'm goated.
He barely made it. He like front flipped over the nose.
That was just luck.
Okay, let's pick a different
It's called
level.
being a Giga Chad.
No, you're not a Giga Chad. You are not.
Are you steering with your Giga
You're
Chad
not
chin?
even a Chad.
Yes, I am.
You're not.
You steering with your chin right now?
See?
That was a very Chad move right there.
Yeah, very Chad. Okay, no, pick a different level. Yes, go like a way easier level. Go back like 18 pages. Oh my gosh. What the? You just want to live in pain.
No, this one's so.
Why am I in first person?
It's this one.
Oh, actually, this is kind of.
Forgot to turn.
I did it without breaking.
I couldn't see the turn.
Daniel, I did it without breaking.
I forgot about the turn.
Also, remember?
I couldn't see the turn. I'm now watching.
Daniel, remember that time when I hit the jump, but like I. Like,
Oh, dude, no! You almost had
No,
it.
remember
Well,
when like.
go
This level
back,
is
like,
so
8
stupid.
pages.
No, but Daniel, remember when I did like? Remember when I was like
Good
grinding
luck.
the railing?
No, I was going
Remember when I was
so
going?
good. Daniel, pick a way level.
Oh my gosh.
This one's cool.
Wait, I don't think I've played this one.
I haven't either.
Bro, what? You can't make that.
Yeah, you can.
No, you can't.
Guys,
Okay,
no,
go back.
no, this one's so fun.
No, it's
So you
not.
can easily hit the jump. You just have to stick your arms up.
It's
When you are just like big.
It's really.
You have to stick your arms up.
It's really not fun.
Daniel, you're going with the.
We should play the one with all the flowers. We should just play one that's like easier. Like way. Okay, don't click anything. Let Daniel.
Why?
This one.
Why do you slam buttons? There's no fun
Why
in
are you
this.
doing this, Anthony? We should like
looks easier.
We should take away his controller.
Can we sue Anthony?
We honestly. Game sabotage. Bro, what?
Basically.
Oh, I'm just gooder. No! What? Oh my gosh, guys. I have one. What the heck? Anthony, stop. We're taking away your controller.
No, I'm
We
too
are
good
taking
at
away
this.
your controller rights. And we're
No.
letting Daniel pick. We're taking away your
How am I
This is
so?
an okay level, but it takes a lot of practice.
I don't even know
What
I'm doing
is
it.
happening to me?
We're taking away your controller rights after this.
I don't have controller rights. That's not how that works.
Yep. See,
Oh, what? Let's go. Dang.
Oh, I'm still alive, bro.
Wait, she's still alive. Let her go. Let's see.
Like, what? How am I doing this? Like,
One wheel
oh,
Kira.
she has one wheel.
It's the super amazing Tony Hawk edition.
Somehow she's doing this with one wheel.
How?
I kept going up, but then I would gain more speed from going down, so I was still alive.
How?
I don't understand how she doesn't go slow enough to die yet.
She's going 60 miles an hour on a skateboard is one wheel.
It is 60, you're right.
That's not how that works.
Yes, it is.
Wait, can you steer?
I can't. It's not letting me do things. I just have my.
Oh, this is a ride.
Just like really gracious bounces, basically. You're gonna lose your fourth wheel.
Oh, no, she's not. Oh my gosh.
She's gonna hit my body.
Run over Anthony. Good.
Let's go.
How?
Anthony's car's up ahead, look out. Go left or right. Pick a side, Kira.
She can't like control her car.
No.
She's
Ow.
extremely lucky.
Oh
It
no!
doesn't
You
mean that.
tapped your
My
head.
other wheel so I could be snowboarding.
Oh
No, this map, I like did not know what happened.
I'm gonna wait till everybody goes ahead.
That's what I'm doing.
Waiting.
Also, just so you know, this is really confusing at the start.
Yeah, I don't really know what I'm doing. Oh wait, I remember this.
No, I got air. I got air, like really bad air.
Oh yeah, guys, I'm just better.
Guys, I went backwards.
Guys, I'm better. I'm just better.
Wait, did you die?
No, I'm just better.
No, I'm talking about Kira.
I'm stuck.
Oh no! Oh, I was doing so good! Oh man, that's awful.
Turn around.
Oh come on, I gotta get past the stairs before the timer runs out. Come on, downhill.
I was supposed to go.
Yes.
I almost.
Oh no, you guys are all on my
This
way
is the
now.
hill that helps me.
Hey, stop
Oh
pushing.
no!
Stop pushing me. Yes. Anthony, who was that?
That was me.
not gonna get a
Anthony, what
sign.
the heck?
No, this is called being strategic.
Yeah,
It's not a strategy.
You're about to hit that
There we
man.
go.
Oh, what was that?
Check what his controller.
No, I just hit him. That was so
I'm
good.
done.
This game is like.
No! No!
Ah!
You know, you got this, Daniel.
Oh, jeez, you got
Put your
one.
hands up.
I just gotta steer backwards is all. There we go.
Skills.
All right, I'll pick one that's not on the.
No, Anthony, you don't
No,
pick
who
one.
hit retry?
Okay, Anthony, stop touching buttons.
Anthony, stop.
Okay, at least do a semi-hard one.
Stop spamming.
Do a semi-hard one.
Yeah, let's do Oh, the flat.
Okay, guys, no breaking at the start.
Why?
Because.
Because Anthony wants it the way he wants it.
Oh,
I was
no,
taking
no. Oh,
Oh, I'm actually.
oh, hey, I'm still first person.
No, what? No. The first person messed me up.
See, Daniel?
No, I didn't realize he had to go straight.
Way to go, Kira!
Oh, wait, that's quick. You didn't get it.
I did it.
Let's freaking
Good job, Kira.
I didn't
Wait, Kira's still playing? Kira is playing? Yeah, okay. Good job. I thought it was you.
20 seconds. I can't actually play this game at first. Let's go.
You know what again?
No, we're not playing it first, so I can't use the team.
Alright, I think this is the last one. We gotta get started after this.
No, we don't.
What are you talking about, Daniel?
Yeah, why are you acting like you're the pastor or something?
Yeah, bro. Maybe because he is the pastor.
Yeah, it's all in my head.
Oh, yeah.
Danny, remember that map that was like all like hidden and stuff? That was like really hard to find where else
All
is
your
real.
friends know.
Okay, this one's really easy.
I'm gonna do this without hitting.
I haven't hit a wall yet, and I won't.
I'm actually writing on the wall. I'm still alive. I'm still alive.
Am I in last place right now?
Yeah, I think you are.
But no, wait, all it matters is that you make it.
Guys, I am still alive. No!
Yay! Yay! Yay!
I'm
That's
still
my
alive.
prime. That is my prime.
That is not prime.
Hey, Daniel, I got 0.7.
Why are you like that?
Oh,
What the? It's my prime. It's not even prime. It's not prime. That's ice cream. That's like two completely different things.
It's slightly less coconut water.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, what? It ends like that?
That's it. Sideways finish. Alright guys, congrats.
No, one more.
Alright, everybody grab a Bible, grab a chair.
One more.
We've already
Wait, can you
started.
grab a Bible?
Matthew, what the?
Daniel, we started already.
The entire time. I can do it.
Oh my god. No! Bro! Controller just.
Wait, Daniel, can I show you the cookie clicker thing? Really quick?
Bro.
No, I got a hack to get infinite.
It's actually good.
Which college do you want to go to?
I wish I was shorter, guys.
Yeah, I never feel taller.
I don't want to be taller.
I want to go to Chico State.
Girl, that's in another 4 years.
It's okay.
8 years.
I'm used to Alonzo and Elena. That's on my hurt toe. So thank you.
Oh yeah, I need a Bible.
No, I have an English one. You cannot hurt yourself.
Anthony,
Dropping weight on my toe does do
Wait,
it.
don't we?
Dude, purple was for kings.
It's for what?
Man, purple is for kings.
Yeah, I am a king.
You're not.
I'm a small
My
king.
God, let's sit where
I'm a small king.
we can be loved.
Drop my Bible and I'm just gonna go.
Victoria doesn't.
Don't forget to sign up for the cook-off that was on Friday.
Don't want to.
Whoa!
And you missed it.
Yellow chair before.
They weren't doing that. So
Where are
Yeah, thank you to everyone who helped out at the cook-off. You guys did an amazing job. I think I have to give like a special round of applause for Kira.
I didn't.
Kira basically worked when everyone else quit.
Hold on.
And walked
I took one small
outside.
break to eat a chicken leg.
Yeah,
what
and
was
all of a sudden
outside?
the scores just fell apart because
What
no one was
was
moving
the
the scores
cook-off?
except for Kira.
Awesome.
Daniel, what was
And because you guys just
Built different.
walk outside.
Daniel, when was the cook-off?
It was on Friday.
Oh.
We sent out mass texts, emails, app
Yes.
notifications. We announced it here. We announced it in the main service. We put it in the bulletin. I made it on the homepage of the
Are we
website. The
that-
thing with food that was falling like rain. I tried really
That
hard
makes me feel good.
to make sure everyone knew what was happening.
I was helping Krista. I was
Somehow.
Yeah, you were annoyingly helping Krista.
Yeah, but I was cooking.
Yeah.
She was just helping me.
Everyone else got touched and they didn't have to go.
Poor Faith was off in the corner feeling all
James!
ripped
No
off.
one was going to James's booth.
Well, he was the third chili to arrive.
I know, I felt
There was 3 chili.
There was 3 chili.
I felt really bad.
Well, there was chili and there was steak chili.
Yeah,
Hey,
true. Steak chili was different.
chili.
I thought it was the only
I
one
think
that
James had the
noticed
best
too,
chili.
because
Yeah.
when I noticed, I felt bad. Then
James's chili looks a lot like the chili we make at my house.
It was also because.
And then the steak chili looks a lot like my dad's chili.
Oh,
and
right,
the
burnt
Gonzalez's
apart
chili was
with
just
lemon.
completely different. That was just like not a chili I'm used to at all. It was good. It was very different.
Oh wait, I only had Emily's brownies.
That's it? That's all you had to
I had
hook about?
Emily's brownies, the tacos. Oh, I also had a soda.
You are pretty sure.
Did anybody try both brownies?
No.
She had the light brown and the dark black ones.
Well,
I thought they were just a different batch. I just
no, she might.
No, the ingredients are different because we ran
Yeah,
out.
she's taller.
I tried both of them.
I buy her cocoa powder,
Even.
2 drums of this at a time.
That's pretty big.
And so like she didn't think she'd ever run out. And then she got like most of the way done with the brownies and she's like, I'm out of cocoa powder. Because it was like 12 batches of brownies.
Bro.
So we had to like dip into the leftovers of the other cocoa powder we don't like as much.
Yeah. I didn't like the dark one.
dark one's
I
a good
could
one.
I
The
couldn't
dark
tell
one's the one that I
The
tried.
dark one's the
But I don't like brownies.
I had like 2 bites.
That was it? It was too much?
I had 2. The tacos were
Yeah, so I got home and tried both back to back so I could see if I could tell the difference. The lighter one is just Ghirardelli cocoa powder, and the dark one is Ghirardelli Majestic, which is cocoa butter blended with cocoa powder in the factory. So like they dry out the cocoa butter, so you get like this extra smooth richness. And the difference when I ate them was the Majestic, you couldn't taste sugariness for some reason. It was masked. It was smooth and buttery and dark. And then you eat the light brown one, and it had this bright, actinic, sugary flavor. And every other ingredient's identical. That's the weird part. It's literally just the cocoa powder. But you could, I could just tell the difference. All right, today we're talking about evil. Everyone here likes evil?
Yeah.
Who's a fan? Anyone a fan of evil? Anyone watch evil every week? Anyone binge watch evil?
What's evil?
Oh, wait, I should be.
What's evil?
Not
That is the question. That is the question.
That's a pretty good question, actually.
No, you made it too big.
No, it's not too big of a question. It's a very easy to answer question. All right, who wants to answer it? What is evil?
Chris Caspian.
Bad. Oh, that's a good one. I like that one. What else is evil?
No.
No nose. Yes, like Voldemort. Very true.
I don't like
Very true.
Voldemort.
Anybody else? What is evil?
Oh.
Snake.
Ah, yes.
Snape.
Going around murdering with your pointy fingers. Sorry,
And
Severus Snape. Severus, that's contestable. Yes.
The opposite of what God wants you to
The
do.
opposite of what God wants you to do. That's a really good definition. Elliot, what's evil?
Affairs.
Affairs.
That's not true.
Very, very present. All right, yes.
whipping people with scorpions.
Whipping people with scorpions. That's correct. That was the answer I was hoping for. Well done. Yes.
Joe Mama.
I was gonna say.
That's not cool. My mom is really nice.
No, it's Joe.
You don't even know my mom.
Joe's mama.
Joe's mama? Oh.
Bo Jackson.
No, she's really nice too.
No, Joe as in Joe Biden's mom.
Yeah.
Have you ever met Joe's mama? She's
Have
been
you?
dead for like 50 years.
Exactly.
Like,
Got him.
she's like dead before you were born.
She was evil.
She was evil.
But she was evil. We know that for
She
sure.
was
don't
evil
we?
because she raised her kid like that.
That's probably true. I don't know that for sure.
She made my.
So wait.
Because that'll be a little.
This is really an important question. What is evil is actually difficult to answer without God in the picture. Without God in the picture. So I want you to imagine, put on a new worldview for a
No, I
moment.
already understand.
Imagine the universe began by accident. Imagine the universe exploded into existence due to the random
The Big Bang's not real,
fluctuations
bud.
in the early quantum fabric.
So
And as the universe expanded and things started to cool down, suddenly some rocks got together, they started to clump into a planet, some gases got together, they clumped into a star, this planet starts to warm up, it melts ice crystals because of all the sunlight, and now there's just all these raw ingredients on this planet, and then just through random happenstance, mixture of chemicals and random bombardments of cosmic rays, some of these things randomly assemble themselves into self-replicating RNA, and you get these little single-cell life forms, and these team up at some point and decide, you know what, I'm a totally self-absorbed little single-cell life form, but I'm going to clump together with this other single-cell life form. We're going to make a multi-cell life form, and then these multi-cell life forms over the next few million years start to create more and more complex creatures which just eat each other because that's what they have to do to stay alive. And eventually, it gets to people who are smart enough to make glasses to fix when our eyes don't work the right way.
Because
You're the only one wearing glasses.
Not really, but
That
it's
is
Alex.
Oh, sorry, you're
Information.
shorter. You're shorter. I missed you. Did you want a chair? We have a lot of extra chairs. Did you want a chair, Elliot?
Huh?
Do you want a chair?
No.
You sure? I'll bring it to you.
So basically, that's how Fortnite was met, alright?
And then we got Fortnite. So,
Bro.
And that's what it started.
this is the question.
I like talking about Fortnite.
In that worldview, what is evil?
Everybody. You're playing solo. Everybody's your op, and you're going to kill everybody and get the most kills and get a victory royale.
Okay, but besides the Fortnite part.
No, Fortnite. That's
Oh,
what
you mean
I'm
real life? She meant real life. Okay, okay. Sorry. So, what is evil inside that worldview?
Fortnite.
Fortnite is evil.
Can we get answers not related to Fortnite for the next few minutes?
Roblox.
Like give it 10 minutes and then you can get back to video game jokes, but like for the next 10 minutes.
God.
What is evil?
Roblox. Nothing.
The devil.
Well, there wouldn't be a devil in that worldview.
Sin.
Evil would be.
There wouldn't be sin in that worldview.
Evil people. People who
Jealousy.
Bro, I have a
jealousy and sin.
Alright, so
Bad
actually,
things.
one of the most popular authors who supports that worldview came out and said that greed, which is a synonym for jealousy, it works with jealousy, greed is good. And that essentially greed is what drives the human race forward. And without greed, we would basically just all still be animals. That greed is actually the key thing that sets humans apart from animals. And that without greed, we would just never progress.
That's a lie.
That's the assertion, though. And so that essentially, greed makes you progress, and progress is the epitome of good. It is the key good in the universe. And therefore, inside that worldview, if that's the way you look at it, evil would be going backwards on progress. That would be the definition of evil. So then you have to ask a really interesting, weird question. Is it wrong to murder?
Yes.
What if you can make the case that the person you killed was going to bring us backwards in progress?
Well then.
Still murder though, man.
Wait a second.
What if you can make the case that that person was anti-progress? Wouldn't it then be good to murder?
Yes. No, I still.
Yeah, guys, actually, yeah.
You should only murder if it's self-defense.
Well, I agree with you. I'm not talking about truth right now. Try and follow. This is all a thought experiment. This is all a fake worldview. We're kind of putting on like a hat just to try it out for a minute. Inside this worldview, where we came from single-cell organisms, where the universe is random, where there's nothing behind anything, everything is just what it is on the surface, the definition of good and the definition of evil is not set. It's not set. It's open.
I don't like this.
It's open to interpretation. It's open to discovery. What is good, what is evil could be discovered. And some would even go so far as to say it could be invented. That you could literally invent a new good, and if you got enough people to sign up and go, I agree, I agree, I agree, I agree. That's the good I'll sign up for too. Then that just becomes true. Because a bunch of people agreed on it. And that's essentially how the secular, the godless version of a nation operates. If you have a secular or a godless nation that says we're going to make laws about what's right and what's wrong, about what's good and what's bad, about what you should do and you shouldn't do. Alan, do you need water? Okay.
He was licking his fingers though.
The lemon. Now Carter has the lemon.
Did you get lemon in your lungs?
No, I sniffed the hand sanitizer.
Oh my god! No wonder you're
That'll do it. That'll do it. You gotta be careful. It's high-proof stuff.
Daniel, I don't like this hat.
I agree. And so before we get too far into evil and the consequences of evil, I need you to understand that the assertion that evil exists is based on God existing. And that's important because then if God says something about evil, if he says something about what should happen, about the consequences of evil, he's an authority. He's the one in charge of that. Some people think of good and bad as these esoteric, disembodied forces that just exist, as these concepts maybe that only exist in human minds. And if you have one of these ideas where evil and good are detached from God, they're not based on him, then it's actually kind of weird when God puts his foot down and says, now you deserve punishment. It's actually kind of weird when God says, look at him. I think he did a good job and I'm going to bless him above everyone else. If God does that, and evil and good are just concepts in our minds, then that's wrong for God to do it. If God does that and good and evil are just these outside things that are beyond everything, they're even beyond God, then it's wrong for God to do that. He shouldn't punish evil and he shouldn't bless good. But if good and evil are based on him, if they pour forth from his very character, his very nature, as the Bible tells us, then when he sees evil, it would be wrong for him to not punish it. When he sees good, it would be weird for him to not bless it. So we got to make sure we have our head on straight about that, because the world has a very different notion, several different notions, to be honest, on what good is and what evil is and where that comes from. Good people don't exist by God's standard. And yet by the world's standard, most people think they're good people. That's a pretty fundamental disagreement if you think about it. That most of the world would put themselves on this list. And I'll give you the base criteria. If you talk to someone long enough, you know what you can boil it down to. I'm a good person, I'm not a good person. Here's the base criteria. I'm not as bad as Hitler.
That's DTM.
I'm not joking. That is literally the base criteria when you keep digging underneath. People go, I'm not as bad as the worst thing I could think of. I'm not as bad as the people that I hate. That's like the actual criteria in their head. But this is the funny thing. You know who thought the same way? Hitler.
Oh.
He thought the same way. He thought that there were worse people than him and that they were so bad that he should hate them and it was good to hate them and that he's not as bad as those people that he hates, so he's pretty good. He thought the same way. So if you think that way, you're as bad as Hitler.
I'm scared of Hitler.
That's a scary notion. So then it becomes very important what God says about evil, because then it's very possible for each of us to actually fit the definition. And that's a scary thought. So as we've been going through 2 Chronicles, we've been looking at several kings, and so far we've had mostly good kings in the south. There's been a couple not so good. But even some of the not so good ones, they started out good. We actually had more than half of Jehoshaphat's reign is pretty good. No, I'm getting him confused with the next guy. Sorry, Jehoshaphat was actually pretty good. It was the guy after, short with an A. What was it? Asa. No, Asa was the good one. That one. Jehoram started out pretty good and he ended up bad. Asa actually did start out good and ended bad in the last 6 years. That's right. And then Jehoshaphat was all good. Okay, but today we're going to talk about a few different rulers. We're going to talk about Ahaziah.
I like Jehoshaphat.
We're going to talk about Queen Athaliah. Yes, did I mix up some names?
No. Which one was congested for 2 years?
Congested for 2 years?
What?
Oh, and then he died horribly. Oh yeah. Not congested. Constipated. Constipated.
He died of This is the
He died of constipation. Did you miss died of constipation?
Oh yeah.
That was a great
Don't
day.
talk about it. Don't talk about it. We was going to detail about it.
What day was it?
So that was
Daniel, what day? I missed
that was
that, I
Asa,
guess.
I think. King Asa.
That's
Because
Asa.
he's the one who started out good and then he ended bad.
No, but it was his
Yeah, I thought that was the one with foot.
Yeah, that was Foot Fungus Man. That was
What?
King Asa.
Really?
that
Did I
was
get
the
it mixed up?
Yeah.
Okay, so it must have been. It can't be last week. Oh, I was sick. That's why. So yeah, it probably is Jehoram. Okay.
Yeah, because it
Yep.
wasn't Asa.
Bummer. Yeah, so that's just a couple chapters ago. Alrighty, so today we're going to cover a few different rulers in a row. We're going to do 2 quick chapters. Ahaziah barely gets a mention. He's only on the throne for a year and change. It's almost 2 years, but not quite. Then we get the Queen Athaliah, and she's on the throne for 6 years and change. So again, pretty short. And then we get to Joash, and that's actually pretty cool. Yeah.
Where's Emily and the baby?
Emily and the baby and both girls are all sick now.
Again?
Not
No,
again.
they were still sick.
I know how your
Before-
family is.
Why are they always sick?
Because they come to
always
church.
sick.
And little kids...
It's Abby's fault. That
Put their hands
cough she's
in
been
their mouth.
having for 3 months is insane.
I got news for you guys.
Always
You
sick.
start washing your hands and stop licking your hands, you don't get sick as much.
Micah, stop licking your hands.
That's
Alan,
not-
licking your hands. Wash your hands right now.
licking my hands.
Why is he getting up now? What did I say?
Because he was licking his hands.
Victoria.
Don't eat the hand sanitizer, Alan.
Well, I was eating hand sanitizer. What's so bad about it?
I feel like if they've been sick so much,
It's made of alcohol.
Am I getting drunk?
So good.
Maybe. It takes a certain amount
Yes,
for
it is.
drunkenness to set in.
My hands.
All right, so
So I'm only a little drunk.
Drunk on hand sanitizer? What?
If you drink hand.
it also will hurt you in several other ways because it includes the same things as soap in addition to the alcohol. You're not meant to eat soap, as it turns out.
Why
I
not?
mean,
Contains astropropyl.
No, you don't eat.
isopropyl alcohol.
Isopropyl.
Yeah, isopropyl is alcohol.
Sorry.
I like that.
Yeah, you can get poisoned pretty quickly and like lose your vision.
Why? Because I did
Wait,
something
what?
really bad.
You can lose your vision.
By eating crayons?
No,
What?
the hand sanitizer.
I'm talking about
You can go
crayons.
blind.
Oh, I'm basically there.
Melting crayons in the sun.
All right. So we're gonna jump in.
guys
First 9 verses in chapter 22. These are about King Ahaziah and his short little reign. Then the people of Jerusalem made Ahaziah, Jehoram's youngest son, their next king, since the marauding bands who came with the Arabs had killed all the older sons.
Womp womp.
Yeah, pretty bad. So Ahaziah, son of Jehoram, reigned as king of Judah. Ahaziah was 22 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 1 year. His mother was Athaliah, a granddaughter of King Omri. Now, Omri is one of the kings up north. He was the dad to like their worst king ever, Ahab. So she's like a daughter of Ahab, the worst king in the north. And now she's married into the southern royal family. So you've got like the royal family of the north and the south mixed together through Queen Athaliah.
Oh, so those are related?
Yeah. Basically, every king from this point on now is related back to Ahab, which is bad because Ahab was the worst. And his family was cursed. His family actually got punishment from God that they were going to get wiped out. And this is a problem because now you have all the kings of the north and all the kings of the south all being part of the one family that's cursed to be wiped out. It's not good.
Okay, so everybody's cursed.
Everybody's cursed. That's sum up. That's the short version.
Bible.
All right, so she's the granddaughter of King Omri, verse 3. Ahaziah, this is the king, also followed the evil example of King Ahab's family. For his mother, that's the queen, encouraged him in doing wrong. He did what was evil in the Lord's sight, just as Ahab's family had done. They even became his advisors after the death of his father, and they led him to ruin. So there are people who are not in the royal lineage, they're not going to become king, but they're related to King Ahab, and they came down south with the queen when she married into the family, and now they're poisoning the royal family with bad advice. And it's continuing with this young man who's just 22, and now he's on the throne. He's getting advice from all these older, seemingly wiser people, but they're all the same kind of people like Ahab. Yeah, of course you should worship multiple gods. Just hedge your bet. You wouldn't want to mess up and skip over a god. You got to worship all of them.
No.
Yeah, of course you got to set up temples to the fake gods. They're going to get jealous if you only have a temple to the real god. Come on.
It's like when you give
But
one
they're
bread
not
candy.
real.
Yeah, I know, but that's not the point. The point is he's getting bad advice.
Stop
All right, so-
putting on the hats.
Verse 5. Following their evil advice... Thank you, Grace. That was a good joke. Following their evil advice, Ahaziah joined Joram, the son of King Ahab of Israel. So this is the king in the north who came after Ahab, in his war against King Hazael of Aram at Ramoth Gilead. Now, the war against Aram is a war that's going multiple generations now. Because back when King Ahab was on the throne in the north, you had King Jehoshaphat in the south, trying to become buddy-buddy and maybe try and get both halves of the kingdom back together. And King Ahab says, let's go fight Aram. Come on. Even though the south was at peace with Aram. And so, you get Jehoshaphat teaming up against God's will to go fight Aram with the king of the north. Now, you go one generation down the line, it's those two guys' sons. And it's the same thing. The king of the north goes to the king of the south, says, hey, come fight with me. We're going to go attack Aram. And the king of the south goes, okay, yeah, sure.
Do they even know what they're fighting for at this point?
They're mean. We don't like them. They tried to take one of our cities one time.
Oh.
That's basically
It's
it.
not-
I have skin.
Yeah, that's basically it. So now you got the king of the south helping to defend a city from the king of the north by fighting a country. Not a great setup. Not a great setup. All right, so when the Arameans wounded Joram, so that's the king of the north, in the battle, he returned to Jezreel to recover from the wounds he had received at Ramoth. Because Joram was wounded, King Ahaziah of Judah went to Jezreel to visit him. So they go in battle together. King of the north gets wounded. Once he's wounded, he goes and retreats to heal up. And the king of the south goes and even visits him while he's healing up. So they're getting to be pretty close friends. Verse 7, but God had decided that this visit would be Ahaziah's downfall. While he was there, Ahaziah went out with Joram to meet Jehu, grandson of Nimshi, who the Lord had appointed to destroy the dynasty of Ahab. All right, so there's a person that everyone knows. He's well respected, well loved, but God calls on him and says, you are the guy. I cursed the house of Ahab that they're all supposed to die, and you're the one I'm choosing to make it happen. So God tells Jehu, you are chosen. You will destroy the house of Ahab. During this time, Ahaziah, against God's will, is going and making friends with the house of Ahab and becoming close. So during one of the visits, God says, all right, Jehu, now's your chance. You get to go get everyone and +1. You get to get Ahaziah, who is now distantly related to the house of Ahab. While Jehu was executing judgment against the family of Ahab, verse 8, he happened to meet some of Judah's officials and Ahaziah's relatives who were traveling with Ahaziah, so Jehu killed them all. A bunch of his advisors, remember, were related to Ahab. Now they're all dead.
What about Ahaziah?
Not yet, but yeah, we're getting there. Then Jehu's men searched for Ahaziah, and they found him hiding in the city of Samaria. That's the capital up there in the north. They brought him to Jehu, who killed him. Ahaziah was given a decent burial because the people said he was the grandson of Jehoshaphat, a man who sought the Lord with all his heart. And remember, for most of his reign, Jehoshaphat was a really good guy. But none of the surviving members of Ahaziah's family was capable of ruling the kingdom. So Ahaziah was already like the youngest guy left alive during a prior attack on the south. And so once he dies, there's no brother who can just slip in and take the throne. And he's only 22, so like his oldest kid would be, at the very oldest, not even in middle school. So there's no one of royal blood who's like ready to sit on the throne anymore due to attacks and age.
Hey, there's a 5-year-old king in France.
I know, it does happen.
Really?
There are times where a king will go to the throne
That's not fair.
and his advisors basically rule for him, and he just kind of is there as a figurehead, and eventually he ages into being the king. He ages into like actually ruling. But I think, we'll see based on the story, it seems like everyone's really young and they're not willing to do that because when they crown someone, they expect them to rule. They expect them to actually make decisions. And oftentimes a young son would get crowned early, but it would be because his dad wasn't dead yet. His dad would still be alive, and his dad would crown him as the king because his dad didn't want there to be fighting about who was going to be king once he died. He didn't want to go to the grave and then all of his sons would start attacking each other to try and secure the throne. So while he was old and he's like, yeah, I'll probably die soon, he'll crown the next king, and then he'll train him, and they'll share the throne as like king and co-king. And then when the dad dies, the son is experienced, everyone knows for sure he's the guy, no one gets to fight about who the next king is, he's had some on-the-job training. It's a good system, and that happened with almost every king. This broke that chain of events, though, due to the attacks that killed all the brothers, and now due to him dying young after being the youngest. So, yeah, not a great occurrence, but it comes from God not blessing the nation. It comes from God not helping to protect everything that's going on like he had been doing. When they were following him, he was protecting every single occurrence. Every fight that started, every family squabble, he was watching over that, making sure it worked out. Yeah.
How long until I get to the New Testament?
Like if we just keep going slow, like through every single book all the way there,
Or like how have you been
it'll be a few years. We haven't done any of the prophets yet.
When are you planning to get to the New Testament?
No, right? We just do them we do them backwards from. How do you say that? We do one of each at the same time. So on Wednesdays we're in the New Testament, and then on Sundays we're in the Old Testament.
Wednesdays are in First Corinthians. First
Okay,
Corinthians.
all of
Yeah,
it is the
First
Bible.
which is in the New Testament.
Just learn.
So come on Wednesdays.
Yep.
You
And
don't
at
do
some
big
point,
group anymore.
what?
You don't do big group anymore.
On Wednesdays?
Yeah.
That's because every time I try, you guys complain at me.
I always want big group.
And I like small groups.
I
I love small groups.
I like my prayer request time.
See, she loves her small groups. So, like, this works, because now you have big group once a week, and you get small groups once a week. It's a good system. I like that. It only works when we have a bunch of leaders, though, because, like, there's always some reason a leader can't make it. So you need, like, a bunch so you can keep on tagging in. Yeah.
Why are there pool noodles behind you? Can we
Why
use
not?
I
that?
haven't put away my pool noodles yet. That's all.
Can I have
we-
one?
Every time I'm here, there's desks in front of my cupboards.
We should have a pool. We should have like a trip.
Can we each have a pool
school
noodle?
trip
No.
or a
Please?
church
No.
trip to.
All right, so
the
real
pool.
quick,
No, I want one.
I noticed that from the
Field
way
trip?
that you were saying all
Field
the
trip, whatever,
words.
same thing.
Yeah.
Field trip.
All right, so this is the capital of the Southern Kingdom. This is the capital of the Northern Kingdom. The Northern Kingdom is just kind of filling in all this dead space right here. This is the Northern Kingdom. This is Aram. This is the city that Aram took. It's right on the border. This is where the king retreated to go heal up. And this is where the advisors were caught. And then the king of the south, who should have been in Jerusalem, he should have been gone, he ran all the way to Samaria to hide. So there's your little geography lesson. Yeah.
Geography.
Geography. I know what I said.
It's geography.
Somewhere.
Geographic person.
All right, so
Geographic times.
the king's dead. The other king's dead.
Yay.
All the bad advisors are dead.
Yeah.
All the other royal family members are really young. Who do you think gets the throne?
The queen.
The
The
queen.
youngest one. Oh my god.
There's a term that came into popular
Not
use
like that joke.
over the years. It's called the queen mother. The queen mother. It was often the case that kings would die before their queens. And when that happened, it usually resulted in the new king being quite young. And in many cases, unmarried. And so it was a frequent thing that happened in many kingdoms all over the world for hundreds and hundreds of years, that oftentimes when the old king would die and the new king would get the throne, he wouldn't have a queen yet, and the old queen wouldn't lose her status. She would stay on as an advisor to her son. And so people, to make things clear, because it can get a little awkward if people keep assuming you're married to this old woman who's your mom, they wouldn't just call her queen. They'd call her the queen mother. The queen mother. So that there was like an automatic, you get it when you walk in the room, oh, she was the last king's queen. And now there's a new king, and we still have her from the last king. And so you wouldn't explain it all, you just say the queen mother. The queen mother. And so in some translations you'll actually see the phrase, even in your Bible, the queen mother. Just so you're clear on their relationship. So now it gets extra weird because you've got the queen mother and then her son dies before her.
How does that
So,
make any sense?
well, he was hunted down and killed. It's it's not natural. Jehu went and found him and killed him. So now let's say
No, I'm not as
Ahaziah's son takes the throne in a few years' time. That would make her the queen grandmother. To like be clear, to to sort things out. It's still pretty strange. All right, yeah, Alan.
So, you know how there was like kind of a problem when there wasn't a queen or whatever?
You may have to explain that. No, I
Okay.
don't.
Queen
So-
of England.
So say like, you know how like the king died,
Sure.
there was no queen.
Right.
Do you think that's why in Rome, ancient Rome, they had the law, you don't have to get married even if, like you have to get married, you don't have to love them, but you have to get married?
Oh, that's interesting. No, I hadn't thought about it like that. I think that was because you also needed an heir. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You needed someone to actually give you a son, so that there could be someone after you died, not just so there could be a queen only. Because I think in Roman culture,
He was
there really weren't any empresses. You know what I mean? There was never a point when the queen or the empress actually got to like rule the kingdom. That happened in other kingdoms. Plenty of other kingdoms had that happen all the time. I mean, it happens here. But I don't recall it happening in Rome. Maybe you guys know of one that you can find one that I don't remember, but in Rome specifically, I can't think of a time when a woman sat on the throne and like ruled the empire.
happened in Egypt.
Yeah, I mean lots of other places, but just I can't think of one in Rome. So.
Oh, you know, didn't Rome rule Egypt for a while?
Oh yeah, there was a
So
period when
technic-
Egypt was taken over.
So technically,
Yeah.
then yeah, there was an empress.
Yeah, I mean Alexander the Great managed it too, I think. So Rome got a lot of what Alexander the Great set up. All right, moving on. Now we get to the Queen's reign. See how that goes. See how
Probably
she
not gonna go
does.
pretty well because
See how she does. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe she's great at it, right? Maybe
No,
she's,
it was
maybe
really
she's good at her job. Maybe
a
she
bad
has all this experience from being Ahab's daughter, and she'll just do a really good job. Maybe. So, verse 10.
She's not
When
good.
Athaliah, the mother of King Ahaziah of Judah, learned that her son was dead, she began to destroy the rest of Judah's royal family.
Women.
Yeah, yeah.
so she's already off to a bad start.
I told
Yeah.
That doesn't sound good.
yeah. The look on your face was.
Verse 11, but Ahaziah's sister, Jesheba, the daughter of King Jehoram, took Ahaziah's infant son, Joash, and stole him away from among the rest of the king's children, who were about to be killed. She put Joash and his nurse in a bedroom. Now, we'll get to that word in a second, bedroom. In this way, Jeshosheba, right? No, Jehosheba, wife of Jehoiada, the priest and sister of Ahaziah, hid the child so that Athaliah could not murder him. Joash remained hidden in the temple of God for 6 years while Athaliah ruled over the land. Okay, so there's a lot of names there real fast, okay? But there's a few you actually need to know.
Really?
Jehoiada. He's a
Sounds
priest.
Like it does not sound
He's a
English.
priest. He works in the temple. He's married to this lady, Jehosheba, who is in the royal family.
Really a girl's name?
Yeah, it is. It ends in Sheba. Sheba's a girl's name. It's like in Spanish, how you have endings that make it female and endings that make it male. You can use the same start to a name and have a different ending, and it flips the gender. Sheba is one of those. It's a female ending. You don't ever see Sheba at the end of a male name.
Wait, let's do that.
So, anyways, she's part of the royal family from her birth, but she's married to a priest. Okay? So she kind of lives in both worlds. She has access to the palace, she knows the royal family, she can know what's going on in there, but she also has this really godly influence in her life. So despite all of the evil that happens in the royal family at this point in time, despite all the bad influence coming from the queen herself and all the advisors that were previously, whispering in the ear of the king, she has a good influence. And so she sees this thing about to happen where the queen is going to have the rest of the royal family slaughtered. And there's not much left. The only ones we can confirm exist still would be the very young children of the now deceased king. Which, if you're following the family tree, is this queen's grandchildren.
She's gonna kill her own grandchildren? Why would she do
That is what we're talking about. We are talking about... Yeah.
Whatsoever.
Wait, but if he has kids, does that mean he has a woman or not?
Possibly, but possibly not a queen. Because we know they're not doing things right.
Okay.
And we have no mention of the wife.
Okay.
0. So it's very likely he just has concubines at this point.
Okay.
Maybe there's a wife, but it seems like she would get mentioned in this context.
Yeah,
Because if the queen mother can rule, then even more so, the queen should be able to rule.
Mm-hmm.
So either she's on the list to be killed, or she doesn't exist. And that's the issue.
Yeah. What if she's
So-
already dead?
Yeah, I mean, maybe, it seems weird they wouldn't have mentioned that, but maybe she was traveling with the king and got murdered with the king? I don't know. I'm not sure about that. I wouldn't push that far. That one seems like she really, really would get mentioned. Because they mentioned all the other family members dying separately from the king, too. So the queen is going to kill her grandchildren because
She's
now
not a
she
very-
has the throne. If the grandchildren age up to the point where they could be crowned, they'll get the throne. She'll lose the throne.
That's why she's killing them.
That's why that's it. She is that dedicated now to keeping the power she's received. Now, maybe you disagree with me. I would put this on the list of evil. That's just where I would stick it.
That's evil.
I so love my power, I'm willing to kill for it. I'm going to go ahead.
She goes up the Joe Mama list.
Evil. Yes, fair enough. Fair enough that time. Although
would
maybe
be like-
Joe Grandma.
She'd be like the
Joe
flavor
Grandma.
of-
Joe Grandma.
Joe Mama's mama.
So, Joe Mama's mama. Yeah, that works. So, there are things that some people can disagree on, right? You could say this is evil, and the other person could say that's not evil, right? That you could disagree, you could argue. One thing's evil, and then another person says no, it's not. Grandmother murdering her grandchildren so she can keep her position at work.
Yeah, no,
I don't think you
what's
can
wrong
make the
with
case.
that?
I don't think you can make the case. That one's evil.
Yeah, no, everybody should agree.
That
If
one's
they
evil.
don't, they were absolutely psychopaths.
Well,
She was a psychopath.
that is an interesting point, actually. So this is an interesting point. So real quick, I'm sorry, Grace, but for 1 second, put back on that old hat.
No.
Put on the hat. The world is an accident. We're just living in an accidental world. Nothing is behind anything. Everything is just whatever it is. Okay, so wearing that hat for a moment. Does a psychopath's inability to see things the way most people see things actually make them wrong?
No, wait a second.
Wearing that worldview for a moment, where everything's an accident, nothing matters, nothing's behind anything, a psychopath's worldview where they say, I don't believe you when you say murder's wrong. I don't believe you when you say torture's wrong. And they just say, no, I don't think so. It doesn't feel that way. In that worldview, they're right. if everything's accidental and there's nothing behind anything, then their strong feeling that they should get to do whatever they want, including things like murder and torture and anything else,
That's fine.
they're right in that worldview. Because the only thing that gives us this sense of right and wrong is our sort of social contract or the feeling we have inside or whatever. And if they don't want to sign the social contract, they don't want to be a person in society, they want to go live on their own, and they don't have the same feelings inside that we do, well then they're just automatically right. And it's okay for them to do those things.
No! That's not how that should work.
Well, I agree. But within that worldview,
That worldview is crazy. Take up the crazy hat.
correct. The point is, most of the world who believes in that worldview doesn't necessarily think through all the ramifications, all the consequences of that worldview. They like living in a room of people that aren't psychopaths. And they don't like when a psychopath enters into their circle. They don't like that. When a psychopath is at their school, they pick them out and they treat them different. When a psychopath is next to them at work, they pick them out, they treat them different, or they quit, they leave. They don't like being next to someone who doesn't just automatically believe that right is right and wrong is wrong. They don't like it.
Well, yeah, 'cause
And yet, within that worldview, they can't actually define what's wrong with it. Because everything's an accident, there's nothing behind anything. In that worldview, whatever you feel is right. And then you can go a step further and you can say, well, if there's a whole society over here, this whole country over here disagrees and says this thing is okay, and this whole country over here disagrees and says no, that's not okay, well then they're both correct. They're both correct, even though they disagree with each other. If you like it like they like it, live there. If you like it like they like it, live there. They're both correct. And most people don't think that through. They don't really fully consider that within that worldview, you can't say, no, they really are right and that whole country is wrong. You can't actually make that case. Because there's nothing deeper than the morals we all agree on. There's nothing beyond that. There's nothing below that as a foundation. There's no God says so to finally come up against and have to stop and go, well, that's final. It doesn't exist. So if the whole country agrees that a person with a certain skin color has less rights than a person with a different skin color, they're correct now. Whoa. And if a whole other country disagrees and says, no, that's not okay, everyone should have equal rights regardless of their skin color. Boys, let his hand be up. He can wait for his hand to get called on. You don't need to put his hand down. If they disagree, well then that's okay for them, but they shouldn't go, pushing their opinion on other people. And that's just stupid.
Yes.
It is absolutely just abhorrent that we could disagree on what you look like means you're less or more important. What you look like means you're less or more human. That's ridiculous that we should even be able to disagree on that. And yet within that worldview, there's no way to make the case that one group is wrong and one group is right. It's just whatever they agree on, that's fine. And yet, the people who still push that worldview are willing to fight in the war to conquer the people that are still enslaving people. They're willing to do it, and yet can't figure out why.
But they're right.
I just know it's wrong. Why is it wrong? I don't know, but I feel like it's wrong. Yeah, Carter.
So if I said I could fly, then I would be correct?
Yeah.
Actually, this is a really fun thought experiment. Within that worldview, you can decide things about yourself. Micah, please don't do that.
No, I was just.
No,
Like that.
don't do that.
Okay, well, I wasn't gonna kill him.
I believe it's wrong.
But he doesn't.
So yeah, inside that worldview, you can believe things about yourself, and it's supposedly like as true as anything, because it's all in your head anyways.
So you can be trans and be correct.
Within that worldview, heck yes. Within that worldview.
Murder.
But this is the point. This is the point. We should be able to tell that worldview is false because we can't extend the logic to anything we feel like. Right? You should be able to extend the worldview to anything you feel like. You should be able to extend the worldview to, I can fly, my skin color is this, I really am this tall, I feel like I am qualified to be the president, so I am the president. Like, all of these things that you think in your head that should be true on the outside just because you thought them in your head aren't. So there's actually something just wrong with the worldview.
So basically, just Kanye West.
He's a Nazi, though. He's a what? He's crazy.
You know what? Pray for
Kanye
Kanye
West.
because there is so much messed up in his head that he actually had a taste. He had a taste of real Christianity, and he fell in love with it, and then he fell prey to what so many Christians fall prey to. Even if it wasn't Kanye, even if it was anybody else, the same, little road with the bump in it, and then you fall away. Like, I've seen it happen to so many people that aren't crazy like Kanye is crazy. And I feel so bad for Kanye because he experienced what so many people do when they go to church. Here's what happened with Kanye. He got a real taste of Christianity. He absolutely fell in love with it based on what it says in Scripture Christians should be living like. And then he watched Christians, because he was actually going to church during this period of time, and he saw that Christians didn't do everything the Bible says Christians are meant to do. And it broke his heart. He thought the whole thing was fake now, and he quit. And now he has these weird, crazy mixed up ideas that combine parts of the Bible with just stuff he made up in his own head.
Isn't like his kids like go to church? Like
I don't even know about his kids. I have no knowledge of his kids, but I followed him because I saw the crazy he was going through before, and then I saw him come to Christ, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. He actually put out some Christian music, and then he got confused, and now he's way confused. He recently said that he is God, but that he's his own God, and that and according to the same thing Carter's talking about, you can't tell him he's wrong, because only he knows what he is. And it's part of that same worldview, right? That what I feel is correct. And so what he felt was most of the good things in his life came about when he applied himself and he worked hard and he made things happen. And so in his view, that's what God's for. You're supposed to be able to pray and God just does what you ask. And he really thought that as a Christian, if he prayed for something, God would just do it. And when that didn't happen, he realized God's less real than me. In that worldview, yeah. If you really paint God like that, where he's supposed to just answer your prayers, no questions asked, if you really paint God in that light, you can be more of that description. You can fit that description better than he can. It's so much easier for you to just do what you ask for. Right? I mean, that's much easier if you just do what you ask for. And you always do what you want. So now, Kanye fits Kanye's definition of God. Isn't that wild? So, like, as much as it sounds like an insane claim, I'm God. Well, from his perspective, no, it totally fits. From his perspective, where he's looking at things from, he is exactly God. Because he's redefined what God is meant to be.
We're going to take the thinking cap off.
There we go. Okay, Alan.
So, back to the flying part.
Kanye.
Okay, sorry.
My uncle, when he was in 2nd or 3rd grade,
Okay.
he thought he could fly.
Mm-hmm.
This was my dad's twin. And now it makes a lot of sense.
Oh, no.
And he jumped off a 2-story building
Oh, 2 stories is bad.
and broke his arm.
Yeah.
2nd or 3rd grade.
I jumped off a 1-story and did like the Spider-Man landing. That was fun.
Bro,
But 2 stories
that's always
is
the
another matter.
best feeling.
2 stories is different.
I jumped up a 2-story building once and did a Spider-Man roll.
I wonder
Spider
if he just
doesn't
like
roll.
thought in the moment.
Well, he
why
did
am I
like
not
let's see
flying?
Go to the
All right, so
Maybe he thought he was flying.
jump on down to chapter 23. Let's breeze through this real fast. Here's how it goes with Athaliah. In the 7th year, so remember she reigned for like 6 and change years. In the 7th year of Athaliah's reign, Jehoiada the priest decided to act. So now this little kid they've been protecting, Joash, he's a little bit older of a kid. He summoned his courage and made a pact with 5 army commanders. Azariah, son of Jeroam. The king is named Jehoram, but this is a different guy, Jeroam. Ishmael, son of Jehonan. Azariah, son of Obed. Messiah, son of Adiah. And Elishaphat, son of Zikri. These men traveled secretly throughout Judah and summoned the Levites and clan leaders in all the towns to come to Jerusalem. So there's like a secret gathering of everyone in charge. They all gathered at the temple of God, where they made a solemn pact with Joash, the young king. They've already decided he's king. They're calling him king. Jehoiada, that's the priest, he's been like in charge of protecting this kid this whole time, said to them, "Here is the king's son. The time has come for him to reign. The Lord has promised that a descendant of David will be our king." Now, he here, Athaliah is related to the royal family, by marriage. She is not a descendant of David. Now, she married a descendant of David, so her children are descendants of David, but she is not a descendant of David. Do you get that?
Yeah.
So she's taken the throne through cunning, through murder, through marriage. But she did not inherit the throne. It was not meant to be hers.
Did you just say marriage is murder?
No, I was listing 3 different things. Marriage and murder were both on the list.
Marriage is not murder.
Marriage is not.
Oh wait,
Oh, however, did you know that all marriages that don't end in divorce end in death?
Wait, what?
Did you know?
All the marriages that don't end in divorce end in death.
What? Did
It's
you?
a true marriage stat.
Did you know? Daniel, did you know? Mary, did you know?
Yeah, what?
That people who grew up with a lot of siblings have a better chance of staying married for a longer time because they know actually how to live with humans.
That's a really good point.
That's pretty funny.
It's a really good
I
point.
thought that earlier before you said it.
Daniel.
Yeah.
Oh, but it's like
Sorry,
if,
only children.
if you're an only child, you don't know how to live with someone
Thanks,
that you
Kira.
Don't
I
be
have
too
6
hard-handed on that,
sisters.
okay? She's like right next to you.
Well, I love you. But I'm just saying though,
Wait,
like
Daniel, going back to that
Girl.
role we have, does that mean you can say I have autism and have autism?
my sister has autism.
Actually, that's a really good point. Claiming an illness does not give you that illness.
What you talking about?
You
you
could have what's
if
the
you
thing where you think you have every illness you hear about?
In your brain.
Hypochondriac. You could be a hypochondriac.
You're convinced you
But
have
no, just because you claim an illness does not mean you have an illness.
So if I claim that I've been
Self-diagnosed.
that
Hold on, guys.
no, what's the one?
You had a stroke?
He's
No,
thinking.
I've done that.
That's true. I didn't even mean it. I'm sorry.
Daniel,
hold
someone told
on.
me.
Wait, you had a stroke?
He did, yeah. It was a special kind.
Rolls one at a time. He's trying to think.
Daniel, someone told me.
Constipated for 2 years. If I say I've been constipated for 2 years, I've been.
Yeah, you just make it true.
Wait, so you can say you're a transformer and be.
Wait.
Let's go.
You just gotta practice the sound effects.
You could just say record that
I am
character.
literally
Not
Batman. I'm a mermaid. I'm a mermaid. I was convinced I was a mermaid when I was like 6 years old because
Could
I
you breathe underwater? Is that why?
No, it's just like
Oh,
I
okay.
was convinced like if I touched water, I would become a mermaid. I watched the show H2O, and I was like, I'm a mermaid.
Okay.
And I was like, Mom, I'm different. I'm a mermaid. I can't touch water.
I love
Wait,
it.
You are.
just say you can be a Demogorgon and be
I
right.
can't touch water.
I was Iron Man when I was little. It was before the Iron Man movies came out. I just saw Iron Man one day on the Spider-Man cartoons. I was like, dude, he's cooler than Spider-Man because he's
Wait.
rich.
Yeah.
Like Spider-Man's cool, but Spider-Man's a poor guy. Like he always is struggling to make ends meet. But like Iron Man. So all my doodles from then on went from having superpowers to having gadgets.
Daniel?
Like immediately, they totally switched over. Yeah.
Does that mean you can be a Demogorgon and be a Demogorgon?
No.
Technically?
That was purple. Like,
No, you can't.
I like that you didn't say believe. You just said because I mean you could be a Demogorgon. He's speaking his truth now.
He just starts opening his face.
All right. I forget where we paused. We paused.
No.
Verse 3. We don't talk to you.
Verse 3.
I'm a skateboarder.
the end.
Yeah.
Wait, no,
All right, guys, listen up. Read along. Middle of verse 3. Jehoiada said to them, "Here's the king's son. The time has come for him to reign. The Lord has promised that a descendant of David will be our king. This is what you must do. When you priests and Levites come on duty on the Sabbath, a third of you will serve as gatekeepers. Another third will go over to the royal palace. And the final third will be at the foundation gate. Everyone else should stay in the courtyards of the Lord's temple. Remember, only the priests and Levites on duty may enter the temple of the Lord, for they are set apart as holy." So he's talking to a big group. They're not all priests. And he's saying, make sure during this whole plan where we move troops around and we get everyone where they need to be for this takeover, that we don't break the rules. So as far as the actual inner courtyard of the temple, make sure only the right people are going in there. Even though we need everyone in certain spots and we need to move a lot of people around, no shortcuts, guys. We're not going to cheat on this. We want the Lord to be with us. So we're going to do this, and we're going to follow all of his rules at the same time. So, remember only... No, we read that. Okay. Verse 6, finishing up, the rest of the people must obey the Lord's instructions and stay outside. Verse 7, you Levites, form a bodyguard around the king and keep your weapons in hand. Kill anyone who tries to enter the temple. Stay with the king wherever he goes. So during the takeover, the king's life is going to be at risk. He's a young man. We think at this point he would probably only be 8, maybe 9. Okay, so he is a little guy. and they're about to have a military coup go down, where you take over rulership of a country by force, and they're going to try and put this like 8 or 9-year-old on the throne. So he is at serious risk, and so they are putting a full-time bodyguard around him. Verse 8, so the Levites and all the people of Judah did everything as Jehoiada the priest ordered. The commanders took charge of the men reporting for duty that Sabbath, as well as those who were going off duty. Jehoiada the priest did not let anyone go home after their shift ended, so they kept everyone back, so they had extra guys. Then Jehoiada supplied the commanders with the spears and large and small shields that had once belonged to King David and were stored in the temple of God. David donated a lot of his cool stuff to the temple.
I know, he's a cool guy.
He's a cool guy. Verse 10, he stationed all the people around the king with their weapons ready. They formed a line from the south side of the temple around to the north side and all around the altar. Then Jehoiada and his sons brought out Joash, the king's son, and placed the crown on his head and presented him with a copy of God's laws. They anointed him and proclaimed him king, and everyone shouted, "Long live the king." This whole process is according to the older Old Testament passages that describe how you're to crown a king. And one of the key things you're meant to do, and they didn't do it for every king, but they did it for him, is that they gave him a copy of the scriptures. This was an expensive thing. It was hard to make. You had to do it all by hand. You had to write down the whole existent Bible all by hand, copying it line by line, letter for letter. It was really time consuming. Okay? Remember, they didn't have ballpoint pens and they didn't have paper. Okay, when they did this, they were using animal skins sewn together into a giant long scroll. There was a special process you could use to turn animal skins into a thinner, more easily rolled up paper-like substance, but it was still animal skin. It was not good for paper purposes. It was hard to use. And again, the ink was rudimentary. The pens were rudimentary. All of this was more difficult back then. So the king gets his own copy. Boys, feet to yourselves. No more of this.
Let's not talk about Fortnite right now, please.
All right, Alan.
Wait, so the king might have been 8 or 9 during this time, correct?
Yeah.
Weren't you considered an adult when you were 14 back then?
Yeah.
So I'm an
he wasn't
adult?
that far.
Yeah, he was close, but he wasn't there yet.
I'm an adult?
Yeah, so being an adult at 14 is not just a cultural decision change. It's not like they just up and picked a different number. It's literally because their culture raised you faster. You were more mature at 14 back then than you are now at 14
Well,
now.
yeah, that makes sense.
You were already helping to run the business, whatever your family was in, and very likely you had a piece of it to yourself. So if your dad was a farmer with land, you were probably farming at least one of the fields all on your own. He didn't help you, it was yours. If you were shepherds, you probably had a flock. It was all your own. He didn't help you, it was yours. If whatever your job was, right, you had a piece of it that was 100% yours. You were already good at it. You were already able to do it on your own. You would be, as you're moving towards 14 and you're looking to hopefully get married, you would actually be building a house.
Married at 14?
Hmm? You would be building a house before you got to that point, so that if and when you got married, you had somewhere to live. So you were already running a business, building a home, probably before you were 14. Now that doesn't mean everyone got married at 14. It's not a universal, it's not constant across the board. The parents were heavily,
And she's not 14.
Alan and Micah, the parents were heavily involved in picking out the spouse on both sides. So the girl's parents would be looking for a young man that they would trust to be married to their daughter, and the young man's parents would be looking for a woman that would be a good wife for their son. And so all these families in the community would actually be involved in this process of thinking, you know what, they would be a good match. They would do well together. On top of, 14-year-olds, they're always noticing people that they like. Okay, so you've got that going on, but you've got the parents actually planning this out too. And so there's this giant collaboration going on. So if there's a 14-year-old guy in your community and he thinks he's ready for marriage and everyone else in the community knows him and goes, no, he's not. He's not getting married at 14. It's not going to happen. Okay? So it's not like, yes, they could get married at 14, therefore everyone did. No, only the 14-year-olds who everyone was like, well, yeah, they're ready, would get married at 14. And if everyone was like, you're not ready, well then you wouldn't be getting married until you were ready. Because everyone knew you. These were tight little communities. Most of their cities were way smaller than our cities were. And most of their communities were centered around providing necessities for each other. There was really no excess industry. There was no things that people made just for fun that you just bought with your extra money. That wasn't a thing. So if you needed necessities, you knew the person who made the necessity. Does that make sense? Like, if someone around you raised chickens, they were like the chicken family, that's all they did was just chickens, and you wanted chicken, guess what? You have to know the people who raise the chickens, because it's the only place you're getting chicken. And so on and so on and so on. For every necessity you can think of, there's like the one family who's doing that job. So you have to go to them to get the thing. So you end up knowing everyone really well. So yes, you could get married at a much younger age, but that doesn't mean you were going to. Yeah.
Well, can this modern day, I think you told me, but like, can't your parents sign papers so you could get married at 16?
Yes.
Yeah.
I prefer that.
Yeah.
14.
I'm gonna get married at 16.
And again, it depends on the person.
Yeah.
I think it's brilliant that we set it up that way, that there is like a hard line where of course you can go do it on your own, but there's also a younger line because if your parents sign off on it, I would expect them to actually be considering, are you ready? And I think most parents, A, know their kids well enough to actually make that judgment call, but B, care about their kids enough that they won't sign the paper without making that judgment call. So I think that's wise. I think it's a good way to do it, to have parents sign it. Florida just did a similar bill for social media. They literally put a hard line where you cannot have social media under a certain age. But if your parents sign a waiver, you can have it earlier. And it's the same thing. It's a 2-year spread.
That's why I put my birthday.
So it's like anyone under 14 can never have it, and anyone under 16 who's like 14 or 15, they can have their parents sign a waiver so they can have it. And anyone who's over 16 can just have it.
Sounds fair.
Yeah, you do. They're actually going to make it the law that if Facebook and Instagram and any other social media wants to operate in Florida, they have to create age verification systems that aren't you just clicking your birthday. Like you have to put in your ID or you have to provide your social security number or something to get your age verified in Florida. And so all these websites are going to have to figure it out because now it's a law. Or they can't operate in Florida.
My grandpa lives in Florida.
All right, so they crown the king. Oh yeah, you got a question?
Do you know how much a flight to Florida is?
Sorry, one more?
How much is the flight to Florida?
We can check that right after if you want. I did just check Tennessee, and as long as you don't try and get it tomorrow, like you actually give yourself like a month to buy the ticket. Tennessee was only like $200. So
I'm gonna go.
there was gonna be this awesome, there is still gonna be this awesome eclipse happening on like Tuesday. Or is it tomorrow? I thought it was Tuesday. No, it is tomorrow. You're right. It is tomorrow. Yeah, and it passes right through Indianapolis, Indiana, which is right above Nashville, Tennessee, where my sister lives. So it's gonna fly out, take,
I'm gonna have to wait another 4 years.
Yeah, I know it's a long time. You can go to somewhere closer like Texas. It'll hit there too.
Yeah,
I just don't know anywhere.
my teacher's in Texas right now.
There you go.
For 5 minutes, the sun will just be beautifully shining and sitting down, and then it'll start raining.
Yeah, if you can actually get in that little narrow band where it's legit all the way.
I can't fly
it's
there
totally
right now
worth it.
though. So.
I got to see the one in Chico not too long ago that was like partial, and it was really cool. But it only ever got to half moon. It never like fully occluded the sun. But the half moon's really cool. I don't think we'll get it here unless you live like way south and east in California. But the half moon's really cool because then all the shadows off of everything, like every leaf shadow in the whole place you're standing, they all cast a half moon shadow. So like for 10 minutes, everything on the ground is all these little shimmery half moon shapes. It's really cool.
It's very good.
Yeah.
Back to that other role we got. You guys said that you identify as attaching the attack helicopter.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
I identify as an attack.
And then anytime anyone asks you at school like a hard question you don't know the answer to, you just respond with and like they can't say anything.
Helicopter.
All right. All right, that was fun. Verse 12. Let's finish the story. When Athaliah heard the noise, because the palace and the temple are actually really close together in Jerusalem. When Athaliah heard the noise of the people running and the shouts of praise to the king, she hurried to the Lord's temple to see what was happening. When she arrived, she saw the newly crowned king standing in his place of authority by the pillar at the temple entrance. The commanders and trumpeters were surrounding him, and people from all over the land were rejoicing and blowing trumpets. Singers with musical instruments were leading the people in a great celebration. When Athaliah saw all this, she tore her clothes in despair and shouted, "Treason! Treason!"
That scared me.
Sorry. Did you see the exclamation points on the page? You gotta read it like that.
Treason!
Treason.
She's scared. She's scared.
Then Jehoiada the priest ordered the commanders who were in charge of the troops, Take her to the soldiers in front of the temple. Interesting. And kill anyone who tries to rescue her. For the priest had said she must not be killed in the temple of the Lord. So they seized her and led her out to the entrance of the horse gate on the palace grounds, and they killed her there. Why not kill her right there where she stands?
Because
that's
she's
God's
such an
holy
evil
place.
person, it would be for disrespecting the Lord.
You got it both. Both of you guys are right. Yeah.
Oh wait.
So you
Disrespecting the
can
Lord to do it right there.
you
am I right?
can spill blood in the temple court, right? Does anyone get that?
Yeah.
You can. What's one of the things they actually do at the temple all the time?
Sacrifice.
Sacrifices. They're constantly spilling blood at the temple. It's like an ongoing daily occurrence.
Just unholy blood is not welcome.
That's it. You were only meant to bring in sacrifices that were perfect in every way. No blemishes, no spots. Every cow had to look immaculate. Every goat had to look immaculate. You know how hard it is to get a goat to look perfect? Come on. Every animal that came to the temple had to look absolutely flawless. So when that blood was spilled, it was a proper sacrifice. Now you've got the evil queen who's the daughter of the evil king in the temple where she's not supposed to be.
She does.
You spill her blood in there, you're desecrating that place. Shh, Alan. You're desecrating the temple if you do this. Okay, it's not to be done. So they grab her, they take her out, and just outside the gate that faces the palace, that's where they kill her.
Because you can't.
You can't do it in the temple. That'd be another kind of
That would be
evil.
bad blood.
And they're trying really hard. They're trying to get rid of the evil without committing any evil.
Probably kill her.
Well, they talked about spears.
Why not just throw her off
Maybe
the
it was
cliff
spears.
and say she fell?
Don't know. Well, actually, if you read the parallel passage, that's what happens to her mom.
Yeah.
What?
Jehu is the guy who goes and kills her son, remember? And Jehu kills the king up north. But Jehu also kills someone who's not mentioned in Chronicles. There's a parallel passage that tells the same story with different details left out and different details included. And if you go read that in 2 Kings, it's between 8 and 10. I can't remember if it's 8, 9, or 10 though. But in 2 Kings 8, 9, or 10, one of those, you see Jehu go and kill Jezebel. Jezebel was the queen mother up in the north. And she's the mom of Athaliah. And Jezebel hears that Jehu is coming and what Jehu's coming to do. She knows in advance that he's coming to kill the whole family of Ahab. And she's Ahab's living wife. Ahab's already dead. So she hears this, she goes into her room and she starts getting gussied up. She puts on eyeshadow, she puts on lipstick. It actually mentions the kinds of makeup she wears in 2 Kings. She gets as beautiful as she possibly can, puts on a fancy dress, goes and sits in her second-story window and lays in the window.
Sounds like something in soap opera.
And then when Jehu rolls up on his horse, she calls down to him and is trying to entice him to not kill her. But she's also evil, so she can't help but slipping in like a few snide remarks. And Jehu's down there, and he's on God's side. He's doing what God told him to do, and he's emboldened by the fact he's already killed like a bunch of people in a row. Like he's getting good at this.
Is he like
right?
tapping his foot and looking at
A little bit, yeah. So here's what he does. He stands outside and he says to the whole castle at large, he just says, "Whoever's on my side and wants to see the Lord's will be done, push her out the window." And 3 guys walk into her room right then and shove her out the window.
Did she die?
Almost, so he wants to finish the job, so he just rides around in a circle and crushes her with his horse.
I like that.
That's
Yeah.
literally how she died.
That's literally how she does. So
That
she's
is
like
so
all makeup up and all fancy in her dress, like laying in the window and trying to and he's just like, "Hey, if anyone wants to see Evil Dead, push her out."
That's so good.
I want to go and read 3 people just wait.
It's in 2 Kings. It's either 8, 9, or 10. I can't remember. Yeah,
When's topic night? Because
soon, but not tonight.
go.
Well, like
We should go. Well, us 8th graders like able to go.
I know, there's like
no,
one left.
because
That's it.
you're in high school. You guys are there.
Oh. All right, here we go. Finish the chapter. The last thing here, we get some more good news. Verse 16, then Jehoiada made a covenant between himself and the king and the people that they would be the Lord's people. And all the people went over to the temple of Baal, and tore it down. Oh, good. Whew, it was close. They demolished the altars and smashed the idols, and they killed Matan, the priest of Baal, in front of the altars. Jehoiada now put the priests and Levites in charge of the temple of the Lord, following all the directions given by David, which tells you something that wasn't being done. They don't mention that in Chronicles when it started, but they mention when it ended. Because like we've talked about, Chronicles is all about teaching you how you should run the country, and sometimes they skip stuff, and what they skip is the mistakes. They skip the what you should not be doing. But when they correct stuff, they put it in, so suddenly you remember, oh wait, they must have been making a mistake. Because they're correcting it. He also commanded them to present burnt offerings to the Lord as prescribed by the law of Moses, and to sing and rejoice as David had instructed. He also stationed gatekeepers at the gates of the Lord's temple to keep out those who for any reason were ceremonially unclean. Then the commanders, nobles, rulers, and all the people of the land escorted the king from the temple of the Lord. They went through the upper gate and into the palace, and they seated the king on the royal throne. And so all the people of the land rejoiced, and the city was peaceful because Athaliah had been killed. All right, so
Amen,
to
brother.
wrap this up, we're talking about evil and the consequences of evil. And there's something that not everyone gets. They don't all get this,
Yay.
but it's important for you to get it.
Yay.
Evil does pay. Evil does pay. Evil comes with a short-term paycheck and long-term debt.
Well, the paycheck is not really any pay, it's more pain.
Well, no,
Paycheck.
actually, evil comes with a short-term paycheck. I mean it when I say it. There are upsides to evil.
No, there's not.
There are, but they're all in the short term. They're all in the short term. Well, for instance, Alan's right. You could cheat people. You could rip people off, and you get a short-term payoff.
Oh, actually.
Like I said,
In the short term, you get money.
Sell them
But here's the
online.
problem. You run your business like that, in the long term, you're going to lose all your customers.
Exactly.
You're going to get all those one-star reviews on Google, you know what I mean? So in the short term, you get a bunch more money because you're ripping people off, but in the long term, you don't get any more customers. That's your consequences, okay? In the short term, you can lie to people and get them to like you by making them think things about you that aren't even true. But in the long term, everyone's going to find out. And the stigma, the reputation loss of you being a liar for years is going to stay with you for even longer. There's always this short-term paycheck that comes with evil, and it's usually why we do it. It's usually why we're willing to commit some evil. It's because of the paycheck. But it comes with a long-term debt that you are going to have a hard time paying off. And in some cases, you can't. And so this is how the Bible puts it. This is in Psalms. It says, don't worry about the wicked or envy those who do wrong. Because people who do wrong sometimes get ahead. Sometimes the one who cheats is the one who's doing the best in business. Sometimes the one who cheats is the one with the best grade in class. Sometimes we see the person doing evil and we envy them because of the paycheck they're receiving. But he says, don't do that. For like grass, they soon fade away. Like spring flowers, they soon wither. Remember Queen Athaliah? She murders all these people. She connives. She gets the throne. She has power for like over 6 years. She is actually in charge for over 6 years, ruling the country. That's a pretty sweet paycheck. However, you step out of line right there at the end. You show up at the temple on the wrong day. That's the end for you. So what does it say to do instead? What are you supposed to do if you're not going to envy the wicked ones, if you're not going to be jealous of the people who are getting ahead the wrong way? Here's what you do. You trust in the Lord and you do good. And sometimes you don't get an immediate paycheck. Sometimes when you're working for the Lord, He makes you work for a year before you get a payday. That's hard to do. It is hard to keep working when the pay isn't coming yet. But trust in the Lord and do good. Then you will live safely in the land and prosper. Take delight in the Lord, and He will give you your heart's desires. This is a brilliant verse. It goes into something we learn in the New Testament, and that is that when you pray and you ask something of the Lord, you'll get it if...
You're a good person?
Nope. If your heart is matched up with His.
So a good person.
Not quite.
What I said.
It's, well, yeah, you got a point there, but no, not quite. If you are matched up with the Lord and your heart is matched up with His, you want what the Lord wants, then when you pray and you ask for something, you're going to be asking for something the Lord wants to give you. If you pray greedily, if you pray selfishly, guess what the Lord's going to say? He'll answer. He'll just say no. No.
Are you serious?
But if you have your heart matched up with His and you pray and you ask Him, the worst thing you're ever going to hear from Him is, not yet. That's like the worst thing you'll ever hear. The best thing is, yes.
The worst thing.
Be patient. Wait. That's like the worst thing you'll ever hear. If your heart's matched up with his. And so that's what he says here. He says you're going to take delight in him. You're happy with what he's happy with. Guess what? He's going to give you your desires. I love that. So the consequences of evil always come. They just don't always come quickly. Sometimes it takes a while for the consequences to land. Sometimes that person who's doing evil will get a paycheck for now, but it's not going to last. So don't worry about them. Their punishment is coming. Their consequences will arrive soon enough. Do not envy the wicked. It can be hard sometimes. All right, so that's it for today. Let's pray. Lord, we thank you that you are a just God, that evil and good come from you, that you are the source of the definition of what is right and what is wrong, that all that matches up with you is good and all that strays away from you is evil. Thank you, Lord, that we have this foundation of what is right and wrong so that we don't have to be confused. We don't have to wonder and guess at what is right and what is wrong. And thank you, Lord, that you are gracious enough that you can look on our heart and our faith in you, and you can see us as right as your own Son, even though we do mess up. And so we ask, Lord, that you would prepare us for those moments when we are faced with someone who's doing better than us because they're cheating. Help us, Lord, to have patience, to have humility, to not get jealous. And Lord, help us to resist the temptation to copy. The temptation to just do something wicked because of that sweet short-term payoff. Lord, help us to resist that temptation in that moment to become like the world, to just do as the world does, to get ahead selfishly. Help us, Lord, to be a shining light of this other worldview that puts you first, that puts you before all things, so that as we are out there in the world, at school, in our neighborhood, wherever, and we're interacting with all these people that have this broken worldview, they see the world as random, as nothing being behind everything. Lord, may we just shine forth the truth of this other way of seeing it, where we put you first. We see you in everything. Help us to bring that truth to the world, with our heads bowed, with our eyes closed. If there's someone here today and you're waking up to that reality, that God is the thing behind everything, that he is the source of good, and he is the only thing that gives definition to evil. If you're realizing that this morning, the Bible has another very important truth for you, and that's that no one can cross from death to life without a perfect sacrifice to pay for what they've done. And the Bible says that God sent his own Son, Jesus Christ, to be that sacrifice, to pay that price for all of us, so that we can cross from death to life. And so if today you want to make that crossing, you want to move into God's kingdom, become a son or a daughter of God, the offer stands because of what Jesus did. We just celebrated on Good Friday and at Easter. He died for us, he was buried, and he rose again, and he showed that he can beat death. So if today you want to take hold of that, put your faith in him, have everything you've ever done wrong forgiven, and become part of God's family, I would just ask you to raise up your hand high enough I can see it, and I'll pray with you. And you can have that brand new life. One where he's going to walk with you day by day by day, and you'll never be alone again. Anyone this morning, just raise up your hand. Lord, we thank you for everything you've done for us. We thank you for this beautiful truth you put on the page for us this morning. And we ask that you would help us to stand strong and to not walk knowingly into evil. We pray all that in your name, Jesus. Amen. Amen. All right, guys, I'm going to start taking questions from you soon to build up our topic nights. So that we have topics based on what you guys want to know about. So start thinking, start planning. And let me know. You guys can text it to me. I'll put out a quiz thingy on the computer soon, so you can just answer that. But yeah, if you have any questions, just text it over to me. We'll add it to the list.
It should be Fortnite.
Oh, and if you haven't signed Hannah's card, now's your chance to